Griffin was diagnosed on June 25th of 2017. We went to the hospital for another reason because he fell off of something and hit his head, so we went to the hospital. But come to find out after some blood work that his white cells were really high, and at that day we met our oncologist and he was diagnosed with leukemia. And then the subsequent days, more and more information came out as far as like what kind of leukemia and everything from there. From June 25th, pretty much through the end of July, we were at Barbara Bush Children's Hospital, except for maybe 4 days. It was terrible. I don't really know any other way to say it other than terrible.
Yeah, it was, you're going about your day-to-day and you think everything's fine and worrying about, what's for dinner and that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden you get, someone telling you your worst news in front of you, and, your whole life changes. We're thinking about how we're going to help our child survive and maintain a family and, look after our youngest, who was only a year at the time. Right now he's in what's called a maintenance phase of treatment, where he goes to Maine Med for lumbar punctures almost every month, and then to Maine Children's Cancer Program for chemo, IV chemo, and he has daily oral chemo at home, and he'll get this for the next over 2 years from now. So the treatment for him is a little over 3 years.
I think it's important to note that while outside looking in, he looks totally fine, he's not totally fine, and so his susceptibility to getting infections is a lot higher right now. And so, like Danielle said, just to echo it, is that we have to be really careful about where we go and what we do, because a lot of it depends on his white counts, and if they're really low, then we kind of turn into hermits, and when they're good and it's an acceptable amount of risk, then we can go out and do fun stuff. But it's one of the many things that we have to consider that most people don't have to. One of the only positive takeaways is perspective. So while most people get to watch their 4-year-old go off to preschool and play soccer, and that's a really joyous occasion and it's a milestone and it's a lot of fun, for us it has a totally different meaning. It's just weighted differently. This time last year, we didn't know if this was going to be possible. We didn't even know if we were going to be in Maine. We thought that we would have to be, living in Boston for his care, or even in Philadelphia for his care. So the fact that we're here now it's just really, really special, and it really makes things like this really make you aware that you really can't take anything for granted. You really can, and every day is beautiful, and every milestone is just much more precious than what I think most families really appreciate.
Last weekend we had the Maine Children's Cancer Program walk, and we formed Team Super Griffin, which is the second year that we've done that. And we had over 30 family and friends that came and joined us, and we were able to raise quite a bit of money, over $5,000. All the funds for MCCP helped stay directly in Maine and really helped to support the families and research for children with childhood cancer and blood disorders. The funds make a huge difference in the families and children's lives, from providing social work support for the families from diagnosis and sitting with us every single step of the way, to the OWI box where the children can go and pick a toy out every time they get a treatment at clinic, to just research in general, which is so important for childhood cancer right now, where there's not a lot of funding. Bobby and I are both runners, and we can't think of a better way to just support Maine Children's Cancer Program, and we hope to do this every year and raise as much as we can to help support the families and children like ours.